Resident Evil 4 is my favourite video game. It has been since I played it on the PS2 back in 2005 when it first released for that console. I was about 10 years old back then. Since then, I normally will run through the game at least once a year. It's really the only game I do that with, and can do that with. I always find myself having so much fun with the game even today after going through it so many times. I love everything about the game. Today though, we won't be detailing my love for the original game. No. Today we are going to talk about the rumoured Resident Evil 4 Remake. A game that has been rumoured for quite a while now, dating back to the Resident Evil 3 Remake. It wasn't until about a year ago where a hacker got into the Capcom database showing release dates for their future titles, Resident Evil 4 Remake being one of them, that we actually somewhat got hard evidence that the remake might be happening. The game did have a 2022 release date on it from the hack, but I personally think it will be out 2023 and maybe announced this year. Following in the rumours since, development has been said to have started back in 2018. Capcom asked the legendary original director Shinji Mikami to join the development team of RE4 Remake, but he declined to keep working on his own company games, which is fair enough. Development for the game went from the Resident Evil 3 Remake team and shoved over to the Resident Evil 2 Remake team because of their respected game's reputation, with the Resident Evil 2 Remake being very well received by the public and the Resident Evil 3 Remake not so much, though both games now have been classed as successes in the marketplace. Also, the Resident Evil 4 Remake got an overhaul from being a true revision to the original, meaning just updated graphics and controls, to more of a reimagining like the current remakes. Keeping in that remake timeline we've been setting up with the RE2 and RE3 remake. I personally put the remakes in their own timeline, especially since RE3 remake doesn't really fit into the original timeline with games like the Outbreak series. Rumours slowed down for a bit, but then we got a DC Douglas photo leak of Wesker. He was texting the photo to fans and giving info, breaking his NDA, confirming separate ways in the process as well. Though it's been said that the photo is from a separate Resident Evil game that got scrapped, so who knows with that information. Separate Ways though is a feature that has still been mentioned today. Moving on, Sony officially released a PlayStation TV ad with the Resident Evil 4 Plaga symbol being shown, which might mean PlayStation might have a somewhat exclusivity deal locked in, maybe with the demo like Resident Evil 8, or it could be a timed exclusive game. We shall see. But I think that's good confirmation that the game actually might be happening with something that is so official. In terms of the recent rumours that came out, which made me want to make this video, the rumours are the village scene and a decent portion of the game is now at night. Having the game be dark pretty much most of the game is interesting. The original game was in the light of day for only a couple hours of play, so really it's not a big deal. But at the same time, it was nice to see Leon process over a day, and the original game gave a nice gritty look in the light of the day as well. Seems like maybe they'll just have Leon go through a long night. Though it will be interesting and more scary to have that iconic village scene intro played in the dark. The remake is said to be scarier and inspired by the Resident Evil 4 betas. The original Resident Evil 4 went through a lot of development changes and got scrapped multiple times. Two versions of the Resident Evil 4 that got scrapped ended up getting the assets used to create games like Hunting Grounds and one of my favourite legendary gaming series, Devil May Cry. The main three betas that have been shown to the public are the Fog version, which is Leon being chased by a fog spirit and the environment shown was Leon in a large blip, a Hookman version, which is the most well known. What is shown is Leon being chased by a spirit called Hookman through a castle, and the last was the hallucination version, which is self-explanatory. Each version shows fixed camera angles and a over-the-shoulder view when aiming. They gave more gritty and dark environments, making them all seem pretty spooky. Definitely making the remake's environment similar to the betas will add to the scary aspect. I think what they could bring from the beta versions as well to add that scare factor is the hallucinations. For example, Leon is infected in the original game. You see the effect of this through cutscenes as you process through the story. the gameplay isn't affected at all. I think what would be cool is if they pull an Batman Arkham Asylum. By that I mean, in the game, Scarecrow is one of the villains, and he would infect you unknowingly through gas. There's sections in the game where you are just walking along and then you start to see weird things start to happen. Like bugs covering walls and wallpaper peeling up like in Silent Hill. Then shit hits the fan and you are tripping. Things getting worse and worse as you go on. We could get something similar to that for Leon. Would add to the scare factor not knowing what is happening and not knowing what to believe. Or they could go down the path of standard gameplay being affected, making Leon's aim off or movement at random points from the virus spiking. It will be interesting to see what they change and add with this remake. All those things mentioned to make it out that the remake might lean more to horror than action like the original. If you're interested in seeing what the betas look like for the original game, then they are all up on YouTube, and you can search either the fog version, the Hookman version, or the hallucination version, and you should all find them all on there. Another rumour is side characters will be expanded, which is fair enough, it makes sense. Lewis could have more showtime and maybe be playable. Also, Ashley is said to have a redesign and get more confident to help you as the game goes on. I don't think they'll give her a gun, but she might help by getting ammo for you or distract enemies. Something around those lines. It's been said a lot as well by the community that RE4 doesn't need a remake. The game still definitely holds up, with some dated things like the boulder running, the QTEs and a bit of the island section, but overall it is a pretty timeless classic. The way I see it though is the original will always be there, and it's not hard to come by since it's on pretty much every platform now. The remake is just another way to experience the story of Resident Evil 4. Speaking from today, we've had the VR version of Resident Evil 4 and the recently HD project mod for the PC that just got released by a group of very talented individuals that worked on it for over 8 years. That's insane. And all respect goes out to them. I'll definitely be checking it out. But if you have Resident Evil 4 on PC, then you can download that mod. All you have to do is search up Resident Evil 4 HD mod and you should find it on there. Resident Evil 4 has always been evolved and it continued since its first release on the GameCube. The remake is just Capcom's way to continue that legacy. It was said we will get an announcement early this year, which I can see that happening. I am personally really looking forward to the remake and can't wait to hear official news from Capcom for it and see what they will do with it. But until then, thank you for watching.
Not to worry. We've prepared a special ritual for you.